When you come to African spirituality, you come to realize that we are not created beings created and put into life.
Right.
There's no creator out there in the sky who created human beings. We emerged from life.
There it is.
We are emergent beings.
Yes.
The waves emerged from the ocean with the watery and the salty nature of the ocean. And you have emerged from life with the abilities, possibilities of the entire universe.
Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and blessings. You know who I am, Michael B. Beckwith. And welcome to Take Back Your Mind, the podcast that is about taking your mind back from being hijacked from the world of fear, doubt, and worry. In just a few moments, I'm going to be in conversation with my brother from Accra, Ghana, from the magnificent movement. I'm talking about Ishmael Tete. He's going to be with me in just a moment. And we're going to go right into the life question of the week. Our life question of the week today comes from Tina D., who writes, I've been involved in a lengthy court proceeding with my ex-husband for non-payment of spousal support for the past year. The mounting legal fees and continuing struggle with him have been very difficult. I pray for him every day and wish him nothing but happiness. But I also feel like I'm being controlled by him because he knows I won't be able to continue paying legal fees without his support. How can I gain the financial freedom I strongly desire? This is a really good question. It reminds me of an individual who came to me for counseling with a very similar circumstance. She came to me and she said, Reverend Michael, my husband left me with my children. He's refusing to pay child support, even though the judge already allowed a legal edict to occur that he must pay X amount every month. He hasn't done so and is creating a financial burden upon me. She told me, I don't want to hear about forgiveness. I just want you to help me manifest him paying me the money that he owes me. And I'll always remember this. We prayed. That night she had a dream. And in this dream, she woke up and she was walking down a hallway in her house, and she saw a picture of her ex-husband on the wall. And in the dream, she took the picture down and she put a picture of God up. Then she woke up. The next day she called me. She said, what does this mean? I said, basically, what your subconscious was telling you is that your husband is not the source of your supply. Your husband, God is the source of your supply. So you are to go within and come to an awareness that all of your needs are to be met directly from the presence. You're not letting your husband off the hook, but you are to come to an understanding that you are not here to shift the external conditions. You are to expand your awareness. So she began to do that kind of work. I'll make a long story short. Subsequently, she was offered a job that shocked and surprised her, paying her more money than she'd ever made in her life. Shortly after that, her husband started paying child support, and he started giving her more than was being asked for by the court. So in a short period of time, with the expansion of awareness, she had money coming in from a position that she was occupying as a place of employment, and her husband started paying. So what am I saying to you? Continue to pray for your husband. But now expand your awareness and realize all good is coming directly from the presence. Allow the legal activities to play out and be available to the miraculous, harmonizing prosperity flowing into your life directly from your connection with the presence. Pray for your husband. Forgive your husband, excuse me. Pray for your former husband. Forgive your former husband. Feel that your need is met, and then watch it unfold in your life. Now, for me, if I have a pet peeve in life, one of my pet peeves is men who don't take care of their children. It's kind of a pet peeve for me, and I do my own prayer work around individual men who try to skirt the issue from taking care of their kids. And so we're going to rise up, Tina, and we're going to know that all of your needs are met, and you're going to know that all your needs are met. You're not letting your former husband off the hook, but you're going directly to the presence to have all of your needs met. And for any individual that's calling, whether you are a male or a female, and someone owes you something along these lines, you're going directly to the presence. All of my needs are met, blessing everyone concerned and watching the miracle unfold. Have a bright, beautiful, and prosperous day. Peace and blessings, everyone. As you know, I'm Michael B. Beckwith, and today we're inviting you to take back your mind. That is the name of this podcast, to take back your mind that might have been hijacked by worry, doubt, fear, a false sense of separation, a sense of lack of self-worth. We want you to take back your mind so that your heart and your mind are working together with a deep sense of coherence about the possibility of your potential being unleashed. Today, I have with me right here in the studio in person, Brother Ishmael Tete from Accra, Ghana, the founder of the Etherean Mission. I'll tell you a couple of things about him. Renowned African indigenous spiritual leader and mystic whose international presence and message of world peace, listen to this, for over 40 years, has empowered thousands and thousands from Africa, in Europe, the U.S., and the globe. Former businessman turned spiritual teacher. It was always within him. He devoted his life to the transformation of human consciousness through the principles and laws of nature, and has developed tools and technologies that show us how to live harmonious lives filled with joy, purpose, and dynamic peace. Mm-hmm. He founded the Etherean Mission in Accra, Ghana, which now has 3 locations in Ghana and has expanded to the UK with a new location in London for those who are listening from there. Mm-hmm. His Conscious Humanity Incorporated movement, offering teachings of the Etherean Mission to international community, is based right here in Los Angeles. He's the author of over 30 books, has appeared in films, is featured weekly on Ghana's Crystal TV, and he and his practitioners are showcased 2 days a week on the UK-based radio program, The Hour of Awakening and Empowerment, and Akafutuyu Radio. So anyway, we go back, one of the things we were just saying, he asked me this question right before we started. He says, is it normal to feel happy all the time, or is it normal to feel good all the time? And I said, it might not be normal, but it's natural. He asked me, was it natural? I said, yes, it's natural, but it's not normal for most people. Most people living in anxiety. Now, we've known each other how long now?
From 97.
What year was that?
96.
1996, because
yes,
that was the 10th year anniversary of Agape.
Right.
And that was an anniversary of you going to the center point.
The 9th year.
The 9th year, that's a number of completion.
Yes.
In which you invited an individual from the West to come to Ghana as support of the work you were doing. So we formed
partners for planetary liberation.
Yes. Yeah. So we go back a way, but we knew each other instantly. It was not like we had to get to know each other. It was like when I walked into his sanctuary and he was sitting with his practitioners dressed in white, and he said, "Are you the one?" My heart said, "Yes, I'm the one." and we had a beautiful reunion. He asked me a bunch of questions, tested me to see if I was in alignment with the universal spiritual principles that he was teaching. And when he was satisfied with the answers that I gave him, and we'd been traveling through the continent of Africa for a few weeks, and our last visit was in Accra, Ghana, he screamed and went out to the sanctuary and said, "He's here!" Give them a little background on that story so they know what I'm talking about.
It was in 1987 when we gathered in the zero room. Latitude zero and longitude zero pass through Ghana. So in Meridian Hotel is a room known as zero room, where longitude zero and latitude zero sorts of meet. So we call it the zero room. And we met there to make a decree prayer that we want a ministry like Etherean Mission to be formed in the West, and they should come and look for us so that we form partners for planetary liberation. And that was as a result of feeling persecuted by the orthodoxy, where we get ministers from the West coming and preaching hellfire and brimstone, binding devils and so on. And it looked like I was the only one teaching of an all-loving God whose kingdom embraces everyone, irrespective of your race, creed, or culture. So then to make a change, we said, let's go and make this prayer in zero room so that somebody from the West will also come to validate that, what I'm teaching is right. So we made the prayer in 1987, and then 1996, 95, 96, we kept hearing that a long-cherished prayer will be answered. We didn't know which. I've prayed 1,000 prayers, so I don't know which one. But then, what was really interesting is that when you were coming to Ghana, the tour company said, there's no ministry of mind science because you were asking for that. But a month before, a member of my church had been employed in that company.
Right.
Overhearing the conversation, he went to his boss and said, well, in our church, we do something called spiritual mind science. And you then had a pamphlet,
Yes.
19-page pamphlet, that talks of the science of the mind.
Yes.
So they photocopied it and they faxed it to the group in America. And the group came. It was Friday. I was having a meeting with my inner circle members. We were all dressed in white. When the group showed up at the door, we had them to wait, and I came and I saw you, and I felt I know you.
Yes.
How, I don't know. So I just asked, are you the one we've been praying for?
Yes.
And you said yes. And I wonder whether you understood my language or what I was sharing. So I thought, let everybody else wait, and I called you in
Yes.
to check you out,
Yes.
whether you are the one. So I put the questions before you that we are Christians. And you said, that's what we are. I said, we are also Muslims and Hindus. You said, that's what we are. I said, we believe in African traditional and ancestral knowledge. You said, that's what we are. After putting several before you, I put one that I thought will make you go back. I told you, we don't believe in the devil. We believe in the all-loving power presence of God. That is everywhere present. You said, that's what we believe too. And that's when I went out and screamed at the inner circle, he is the one we've been praying for.
Yes.
So I called some of my practitioners in to. You also called some of your practitioners, including the late Reverend Ivana.
Yes.
Yes. And we started exchanging questions and so on. And you joined us on Sunday in church service. So I started teaching. When about 5 minutes or 10 minutes into the teaching, I don't know how long, I passed the mic on to you.
Right.
And what was magical was you continued seamlessly right where I left, using sentences and phrases that I thought I was the only one in the world that uses those sentences. Oh, loving God, the devil is a mirage. And statements that I thought I was the only one.
Right.
And men and women were crying in the church.
Right.
And in Ghana, when a woman takes the cover cloth to come and cover you, it's a sign of validation.
Yes.
So for the first time, somebody is validating you.
Yes.
It was magical, electrical moment.
Yeah, I can feel the energy in my body right now from that. I can remember that Joe Cato was putting the trip together for us. And I remember one day she called me and she said, we had this photocopy. No, someone sent a photocopy of something called the Etherean Mission. And the person in the office put it in the trash. They said, no, he's not interested in this. And I said, Etherean? Yeah, that sounds like my people. Get that photocopy. So they got it and read it to me. I said, that's I want to see them. They're the ones. And so they recovered it, and the rest is the story that he just shared. And do you remember the name of the man who was on the bus with us that worked for the tour company? Because he kept telling us.
James Nyameke.
What's his name?
James Nyameke.
James, yes, I remember. Because I remember he was with us when we were praying, and he kept saying, you're gonna love the Etherean Mission. He kept saying that. all the time. You're going to, oh my God, you sound like our teacher. You're going to love the Etherean Mission. And he was correct. That was a very powerful meeting. And as you said, we've been partners ever since for spiritual liberation. We've been involved with assisting in the building of your hospital. We've traveled back there a few times. And then I told a lot of other people, Reverend Eloise, Reverend Deborah Johnson, a number of people that were here on Sunday, and so you became, I remember saying to you, will you come to America?
Yes.
Yeah, it's spread this goodwill
and
around.
I said, what's for? He said, you invited me to
Revelation conferences.
And when you explained what it was, I said, okay, I'll come.
Yeah.
And I spoke 5 consecutive times, Revelation.
Right.
And that's how we now forming the Partners for Planetary Liberation. For me, anyone listening to this program, you are part of the sacred work, planetary liberation.
Yes.
So you join us to work together for planetary liberation. And I've been coming here since.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing about that, this is the time in human history where the new sexy is collaboration. It's like, in order for us to deal with the impending, evolution of the species and to dissolve the crisis that we're going through, whether it's climate emergencies, wars, things of that particular nature, there must be collaboration of communities that are holding that high frequency of peace and of love and of harmony and goodwill and can embrace all of humanity without separating people out, cut out from our hearts. Mm-hmm. So collaboration is really the next level of our species working together, just like the roots of trees and forests. They collaborate. They don't compete with each other. They work with each other. There's a whole mycelium network of communication and sharing of nutrients. We have to follow nature, and he's going to speak about that and on how we can all work together that way. But before we get into that, tell him just a little bit about your spiritual background. I mean, I know as a child you had some things, and you were part of different religions, and give us a little bit about your background and how you actually evolved to become what we all know now as the founder of the Etherean Mission, this great mystical teacher.
When you were reading the biography, founder of Etherean Mission, I always say, Etherean Mission was founded around me.
Right.
I didn't even plan to found a church. It just founded itself around me. All I knew was that around age 4, 5, I was doing healing works with my father. Mm-hmm. He would wake up at dawn, people came to him, he prayed for them, and I would, as a little boy, offer to support him. Mm-hmm. I don't think I understood exactly what I was offering, but what I knew was that when patients or clients came to him, sometimes I would be asleep and they come and woke me up to come and pray for them. Mm-hmm. When I grew up, I got to understand that they realized that there was more virtue when I prayed for them, so that's why they came to wake me up. Mm-hmm. And I would just hold daddy's hand. My brothers will tell you that I'll hold daddy's hand and say, let's go to this house. They're doing this there, change this, tell them to do that, and so on. They're doing something evil at this spot. Sometimes I'll just bring him a herb and say, cook this herb for this patient who came to you, and her problem or his problem will be over. And I do this like in a trance, and I wouldn't know what I was doing. And when I came round and you asked me, I wouldn't know. But what I remember significantly, and my cousin is still alive. Recently, we're doing a documentary on me. Mm-hmm. So he came to speak to it. That I went to my grandmother in the village, and he was very ill. And I wanted him to come out for us to play soccer. And when I was told he was ill, I said, then I'll pray for him so that he comes out for us to play soccer. So I went and prayed for him. And within some few minutes, he was up and out, and we were playing soccer. When I grew up, I realized that apparently he was in the village to pine away to death. Medicine had given up on him. So it became like a big story, and everyone who saw me would say, Osofo means pastor.
Yes.
Pray for me, my headache, my rib. As a child, I was doing it, but I also realized some were teasing. Mm-hmm. And I disconnected me from the word Osofo. Mm-hmm. However, every school I went, when in classroom, they will ask you to read. And when I read, then everybody starts calling me Osofo.
Right.
So it's like it followed me all through till today.
Wow.
And
you gave me that name, Osofo Popon.
Osofo Pon?
Yes.
Osofo Pon means big priest.
Yes.
Big spiritual
That's one of the names you gave me when you
Osofo
installed
Pon.
me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So that's how it started, and I came to my full awakening before my 20th birthday. There were two significant events that really pushed me to start asking uncommon questions. When my father died, and a school teacher, Mrs. Chinnery, that we love so much, I wouldn't understand why a noble person like my father would die. He was such a noble person, loved by the community. He wouldn't impose his will or religion on us. I was baptized. I started as a Presbyterian, baptized a Methodist. I became a Jehovah's Witness. I joined Islam.
You learned about all of them by becoming ensconced.
I became an apostolic, rebaptized apostolic. Then he died. And I wanted to understand what is life all about. In fact, at a point, I wanted to end my life if I wouldn't understand life, if the thing called God wouldn't explain to me what it's all about. If I live longer, I would commit more sin and be thrown into hellfire and brimstone.
Right, based on those teachings, yeah.
Based on those old teachings. So, as a Jehovah's Witness, the gospel of hell was very strong too. So I wouldn't want to go to hell. So I started asking questions and questions. And then we lost that school teacher. She was going to give birth and she died. She had a chain of degrees to her name. And I wondered, why should such a learned, beautiful woman die? What is life all about? No one could answer me. So I was asking spirit till I had the manifestation. That's another long story. And the manifestation, among other things, instructed me to go and bless the rivers of the land. And I wouldn't bless the rivers of the land as far as I'm conditioned. Our African tradition and everything African and black was evil. So how do I go and do the things our traditional priests and priestesses do? That was evil. No. Right. I went into fasting for 21 days, touching the Bible, so that I get direction. The Bible was my father when my father died. And when I eventually opened, was the reading that said, if you go to the house of idols, whatever I said before you eat, don't ask questions, because you're giving thanks. But if someone asks you, why are you eating food for idols? Stop eating for the person's faith, not your faith. So it means there's no wrong in eating food for idols. I'm speaking this lightly today.
Right.
At the time, it was like I was in hell.
Yeah.
The devil has gotten me.
Right.
How can I eat food of idols? No. Again, I went to fasting, I don't know how many days. And again, I opened the Bible. And was the reading that said, Paul, I think Acts, the book of Acts, Peter had the revelation of animals descending, and the word of God came to him, kill and eat, and he said, I can't touch anything unclean. And the word of God came to him that, don't call anything God has created unclean.
Right.
So it means there's nothing unclean. Again, wow. There was feeling of holiness and fear at the same time.
Right.
I did it a third time. There's a saying in Ghana that you go to the shrine 3 times.
Right.
So 3 times I did it. And the last one was, I think, the book of Titus that said, unto the pure, all things are pure.
Unto the pure, all things
but
are pure.
unto those who are defiled, even their conscience is defiled. And I recall the first wisdom that came to me, that what makes it wrong to bless the river, that is the source of the fish, yet you bless the fish at the table. So I went and blessed the rivers. And I don't know, from that moment, everything just knew itself, or I would say knowingness knows and knew itself through me. I know all things, yet I don't know how I know.
I understand.
My ancestors started speaking to me, I started connecting to them, and I was receiving teaching. Even I would read a newspaper and a sentence will connect me to some teaching, some frequency card. And the result is that people started coming to me, and I was doing monthly convocation and telling them of an all-loving God whose kingdom there's no hell, there's no hellfire and brimstone. And the story is that nobody will believe that, but those who were coming to me, the great healer is here, so people were flooding in. And over time, the people realized that this must be their church. So God so-called tricked me and trapped me into having the church. And then that's how it happened. So I was actually running my church, and my businesses at the same time.
Right.
Because I was young.
You were doing you were computers and things like that, right?
Yes, I started even selling ceramics and kitchenware. Then I went into importing bed sheets in containers. I was a very big businessman, though very young. And there's a big story around each of them. And finally, I went into computers. And I had the third largest computer company in Ghana at the time. I pioneered desktop publishing to Ghana. I pioneered computer engineering to Ghana, repairing, maintenance, software training, and so on. And I've never been to any computer school. There's a whole education. There's a whole mystery how all this just came.
Right.
So
then you segued into this mission that formed itself around your consciousness.
That's correct.
And then it became like an authentic church, spiritual community that worships the all-loving presence that's everywhere in its fullness. Now, a lot of your teachings are obviously based upon the principles of nature and the African understanding of that and the African tradition. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm a universal citizen. I come from Africa, and nature is my teacher. If the spiritual philosophy or teaching is true, you must be able to prove it from nature. Nature teaches us the spiritual laws. Nature is the very body of God. You see, you're seeing me. You're actually seeing my body. You don't see me.
Right.
You see my body. You don't see my mind. You don't see my feelings. You don't see my senses and my spirit. So when we touch the air, we're only touching the body of the air. The earth is the body of the earth. These are all spiritual ideation.
Right.
Life is pure energy vibrating at varying frequencies. One of the frequencies is the fire, water, earth, and air. So in African spirituality, we teach that the universal God, the universal creative love intelligence that we choose to call God, is God on earth through fire, water, earth, and air. So the fire, when the sun rises, I'm the reason for their risen sun. Do you know that? You are the reason for their risen sun. And you need to have communion with the sun, in the fire, the water. Without these four, there is no life.
There's no life, right.
So what gives you life is life. And each of these are huge spiritual intelligences you can commune with. When you take the water in your glass and you hold it in both hands, you can talk to water. It will talk back to you. But we've not learned spirituality from nature. And most spiritual teaching is just like human invention and ideas of what they believe spirit should be.
Right. That's the graven image.
Right.
Yeah.
Graven image. We have graven images of what we believe God should be. But if you want to know God, touch God in the air you are breathing. Breathe the air and tell yourself that in the seventh breath, I will receive inspiration concerning this financial issue. Consciously take the 6 breaths, and the 7th breath, you will notice a change in you. Commune with life.
That's the air.
The air.
Yeah.
You can do the same to the rays of the sun, the earth. Life is alive.
Right. One of my favorite statements. Life is alive.
Yes. Life comes from life, and what gives you life is life. Life is creative, loving, intelligent, powerful, purposeful. Then you are waking to this. Prayer is no more asking God something. You don't need to tell God what your big problems are. You tell your problems what a big, God, creative, love, intelligent God there is.
Yes.
You see, when you come to African spirituality, you come to realize that we are not created beings created and put into life.
Right.
There's no creator out there in the sky who created human beings. We emerged from life.
There it is.
We are emergent beings.
Yes.
The waves emerged from the ocean with the watery and the salty nature of the ocean. And you have emerged from life with the abilities, possibilities of the entire universe.
That's right.
And when you can prove that you are living in the powerful, purposeful, spontaneous, creative, love, intelligent universe, when you can have evidences of this, it raises your vibration to that frequency and you vibrate it. So you no more pray to a power to do something. You raise your vibration to the frequency of the power you want to express, and you simply allow it to transmit through you.
Absolutely. For those of you who are listening right now, this is Brother Ishmael Tete from the Etherean Mission in Accra, Ghana. But you can see what he meant when he said, when he put down that mic and I started speaking, I just finished the sentences because you can see where we emanate from the same teaching. I always speak about the fact that we weren't created, even though the Bible says created in the image and likeness. That is a linguistic convenience because we've actually emerged from life. We've emerged from love intelligence. We've emerged from beauty. We've emerged. And there never was a moment where we did not exist. We're eternal. What has emerged is forever and ever unfolding. And so you're hearing the dynamic of brothers that carry a very similar frequency of the Most High. Now, before I ask you about inner peace, I remember we had this conversation years ago. At one point, you talked about you had a practice. You would take a tape recorder and put it out into the jungle, ask a question or something like that, then let it run under record, and then come back, and the ancestors or someone would be speaking, answering that question. Remember we had that conversation about that?
It's a teaching I give to my mystics.
Yes.
You know, apart from the church, I have the core mystical team.
Right.
And I have one mystic even here. They'll tell you they didn't love me when they have to join the inner circle. Yeah. But when they get to the mystical class, then they begin to appreciate what I am and they love and adore me. Right. Because the disciplines are very clear.
Right.
You have to put yourself. So the universe talks. And anyone can do that experiment and see.
Listen to this.
Right. Just get yourself. These days, we don't even use tape.
Right.
So you need just a very good, sensitive recorder. Put your questions across and leave it out there, not even in the jungle. Mm-hmm. In the jungle, I normally used to go to Ebury Gardens. There used to be 3 palm trees. At midnight, I want to go and sit there and receive downloads. Mm-hmm. That's how I've written most of my books. I have 33 published books now. Mm-hmm. The 34th one will come out by September this year, called Inner Life Mastery. Mm-hmm. Right. So, but you can do this in your bedroom. Mm-hmm. Once there's quietness and it's a very serene place, put a soul question. And the soul question is the question that evolves life. Mm-hmm. What is the universe seeking to do and be for its highest good through this unit of itself that I am? Mm-hmm. What is the universe seeking to do and be for its own glory, its own highest good through this unit of itself that I am? Keep asking this several times, and when you feel satisfied, leave the recording, leave the tape recorder there. In the morning, put on your headset and just listen. Mm-hmm. You'll be hearing some gibberish something, but as you hear some gibberish, something will take over and you'll be able to hear clear information, and you wonder, anyone will listen to that recording, they won't hear anything. But when you do, you will hear. You will.
It's for you.
It's for you.
Yeah, it's your frequency.
It's natural.
Yeah.
And we've always done it to receive information from the universe.
Right. Mm.
But the earth talks.
Yes.
I do retreats and so on. I teach people how the earth knows your name. The earth talks. Mm-hmm. The elements talk. Mm-hmm. We have not learned to commune with them. I don't know how you can be lonely when the earth is your companion at the tip of your nostrils.
That's what I say all the time. You can't be alone. You're surrounded by a presence of love, beauty, intelligence. You're surrounded by the ancestral line. You're surrounded by the angelic kingdom. You can't. If you're alone, means all one. You're alone. You may be by yourself, but you're never ever alone. I'm loving what you're saying. I'm loving your frequency and vibration. Now, a lot of what you do, a lot of what we do, is hold the vibration, the frequency, and the possibility of world peace in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. I mean, sincerely, it's not like wishful thinking. It's like really hold that tenor, that octave, that frequency, and that vibration. And you teach, which is true, that there must be a dynamic of inner peace that has to be there inside of your soul, vibrating. You can't have it unless you're vibration. So I know you carry that frequency a lot. Speak to that for a moment.
You know, irrespective of your race, creed, or culture, the desire of every human being is the same. Mm-hmm. We just need to give attention to our core desire. Our core desire is to have peace, love, harmony, isn't it? Everyone wants the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're a Hindu, Buddhist, your race, your culture, your religion, your tribe.
Even if you're an atheist.
Even if you're an atheist. Right. You know what atheist is? Atheists are there. True to me, they are some of the true spiritual beings.
A lot of them are. We have a lot of them at Agape.
Because atheists are simply people who are speaking the truth that there's no sky God out there, that life is God.
Right.
So if they believe in the life of their life, they are believing in God as themselves.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So there's no atheist in the sense of people who don't really know God.
Right.
But atheist in the sense of people who are disconnected from the so-called sky God.
Yeah.
Right. So we are all seeking peace, love, joy. If we are all seeking it, you can't seek what you do not know. Meaning deep within, we already know peace, but we are not giving it attention to express it. That's why I believe that world peace is possible in our lifetime. And world peace is possible in our lifetime does not mean that there's going to be an event and then suddenly there's calmness. We are all on the planet. You and I are in this space right now. You are in a different world and I'm in a different world. So when we talk about world peace, it means that in your world, you must strive that before you pass on, you are going to experience the fullness of peace in your world.
Yes.
Then you have come to world peace. And when I come to world peace, and each person comes to his or her world peace, globally it becomes global peace.
Yes. Yes.
And each person can come to his or her inner peace through some simple spiritual practices.
Yes.
There will be storm around you and you'll still be at peace with yourself.
Yes.
I go through a lot of pain, lot of challenges. The recent one probably you might have heard. I started planning my life retirement from age 25. I am not in government business, so I don't have pension. My wife hasn't gotten pension. So I have my investments that have been growing. I went to the Bank of Ghana. They showed me where to invest my money eventually. Cutting long story short, all of my life investment is stalled. Stalled with my investor. We are now working with the government, the Bank of Ghana. What can you do for us?
Does that mean it's gone or just
we don't know whether it
has not grown?
We don't know whether it's gone or we are. The government initiated some financial policies that has affected the company that I have invested in.
Right, I see.
So they are no more receiving funds and their life come to the end and they don't know whether they'll get any funds to pay us or not. That should cause me stress, isn't it?
Well, it would cause the average person stress, yes.
And I'm still peaceful and joyful.
Yeah.
And despite that, my life is still prospering.
Yes.
The inner energy, so that's why sometimes I wonder whether I'm a human being. I sometimes pinch myself to see whether I'm here.
Right.
Because something inside here, it feels holy, pure, and joyful.
Yes.
The body may even, I said, even worms were eating my body, I feel at peace with me. It is our DNA. Peace, love, joy, harmony is your DNA. If it's okay with you during this program, can I take listeners to a brief moment of meditation?
Oh, absolutely. I'll cue you up for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it before we
So
end.
they can experience themselves. There is this self of you that is beyond your mind, your feeling, and your senses, and it operates through your mind, feeling, and senses. You must be able to step into this I that you are, and then you can manage your world. So things will happen around you, yet this I that you are is not shaken by anything happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think people can feel the frequency right now that as you're speaking it. Now, one of the things that's important to both of us, and you've really highlighted it in your life, is the future of our children.
Growing the empowered child.
Growing the empowered child. Speak to us of that. This is extremely important.
Oh, that's one of the passions I have. In my spiritual mind science, when we're counseling people, you realize that most of the pains we have started from our childhood. We're experiencing lack, limitation, fear, false beliefs. They're all coming from our childhood.
Right.
I had a teaching from my head teacher when I was in primary school that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. And since I want to go to heaven and not hell, when I started business, very young age, it was struggle succeeding. But when I came to spiritual awakening, and I discovered that simple sentence is stopping me. There's an inner battle. I can't be rich because riches means I'll go to hell. And when I removed it, by age 26, I was a successful young man with a lot of money.
Right.
Thieves broke into my warehouse, stole everything. I came to ground zero. I rose again. In 1982, by age 29, I was probably a very rich, successful man, but there was a coup in Ghana in 81.
Right.
And it was a regime of hatred. So they looted my warehouse. Then I was importing a big merchant. The military looted my warehouse and I lost everything. At 29, for somebody in Ghana, Africa, to lose close to $110,000 worth of goods.
And that's back in the 80s. That'd be worth $1 million now.
82, yes.
Yeah, based on inflation. Yeah.
I was crushed. And I chose to rise again. You know, people don't know this secret. When life deals you with pain, don't curse you, bless you. And knowing this secret, the secret is that pain generates emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. So whilst in the pain, feel the pain and declare the greater life that you are still living.
Right.
And I did that. I have some goods left in my house. Bed sheets and so on, curtains, I sold them. I threw myself a party. I danced all night and I was declaring the greater yet to be me.
Yes.
That is emerging.
Yes.
And by 1996, I was rich again.
Yes.
And though my investment is now stalled, I have done the same thing. And I am certain that my future is bright and beautiful.
Absolutely.
I'm doing some good things on the planet. Life as a whole can never sabotage itself.
Right.
It can only prosper and grow its infinite good and beauty.
That's right.
Emerging from life, there's no way that life as me can be sabotaged. I'm evolving to the yet higher version of me.
Absolutely.
So growing the empowered child emerged from me realizing that people have their pains from childhood, and that young man left you, and then you said, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy is you cursing yourself.
Absolutely.
He left because he was probably not feeling worthy of you, right? So when people go through pain, then they start thinking, I'm unfortunate. That is a self-curse.
Right.
That is self-agreement.
Self-abuse.
Self-abuse, self-curse, self-agreement to lack, limitation, and poverty. Only you can free yourself from your curse. So in my spiritual mind science, I realized that almost all the problems come from childhood days and primarily from fear and anger. So I developed this program, 16 age-specific modules for growing children who are primarily free from fear and anger and who are in touch with their uniqueness and could celebrate their uniqueness. And it's a beautiful program. If your child is coming to the church or we are doing it in the school system, your child is in the school system, within a short time, you, the parent, you will have difficulty even triggering your child to anger or fear. Because the program is so simple. We help them to identify first their uniqueness.
Right.
And then a simple statement such as, it is not about me. We help them to realize that the caregivers and their parents may do negative things, but it is not about them.
Right.
We help them to develop their own child evidence. And then we develop the program for them to just say, it is not about me. It is not about me.
They're dancing and moving.
It is not about me.
Yeah.
You saw them doing it in Ghana.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. And I recall once a friend of mine, David, came and was wondering how the children are so self-composed in the church. And I told him, look, when we go to church next week, I'll show you. So I took him to the children's class, and all I did was to scream at the children, stupid boys and girls, and they all stood up. It is not about me. It is not about me. Then I did it a few times, and each time they responded the same way. They say, great, beautiful children, that's very like me. That's very like me. So,
it's true, thank you.
yes, right. So, and then we have a way to let them develop what we call their sign of immunization. So that even if any adult should say something to them that is negative, they are immunized. No, children love secrets. So tell them to develop a secret sign that means it is not about me. And then if a parent is doing or caregiver is doing something negative to offend them, maybe the child's sign is to just rub their ear. So in rubbing their ear is negating that it is not about me.
Right. They're canceling it out.
Canceling it out, right? Yeah. So simple things like this.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
One that I love very much, A child will speak about the good he or she is, and you speak the good you are. The good you are. The next round, I'll speak the good I am and how it can bless you or benefit you. Then you do the same. And then as they keep doing, it's like they realize that I am here for your good and for the good. Suddenly you find them hugging.
Yes. It's circulating the
yes,
energy.
They feel the energy.
It's not being stalled.
No.
It's circulating.
Circulating.
Yeah.
So simple programs, games like this. We have one called the word empowerment game. They play games, all right? Count your blessings. Are you unique? If so, let's start. And then you pronounce a positive word, step in, and then act it, and so on. So I've developed these games to help the children step into themselves and their power.
Absolutely.
Called Growing the Empowered Child. And I have a book called Growing the Empowered Child.
Right. Now listen, everyone. Everything he's sharing, it's definitely for the children, but it's for you too. Everything that he just shared, because oftentimes I'll teach my practitioners, it's not about me. Make sure you take nothing personal at all, that you're able to just, wipe it off and keep on allowing that self-affirming power and presence and love to take over your life. But he used a key word earlier, practice. It's a practice. It's not just a mental memorization. It's not just a belief. It's actually a practice that becomes a way of living. And when you visit the Etherean Mission in Accra, Ghana, you'll see the evidence of individuals that practice this way of teaching, this way of living, I should say. So that there's a beaming, there's a glowing, there's a vitalizing feeling that's captured there.
There's a program I even do every morning called the 3 Mystical Truths.
Yes.
If somebody wants to delve more into African spirituality, it's a program you can participate in. The 3 Mystical Truths is run by Conscious Humanity. It's a daily 30 minutes program.
Right. Now you have evergreen programs on the website.
All
that they can go on the website. And the website. What is the website?
ConsciousHumanity.com.
ConsciousHumanity.com.
Right.
This is great. You still, are you the tallest man in Ghana? How tall are you?
Your son Nikome is seeking to challenge me with height.
Oh yeah. He's there. Yeah, that's his no longer baby boy.
No.
I was looking at this. You have a virtual wellness center.
That's the hospital complex.
Yeah, I know about the complex, but it's also virtual as well.
Not virtual. People, if virtual means people call me and then I counsel them and bring them to healing, yes, we do that. And they do that. We use Zoom. We connect. Sometimes we use Skype to connect, and then transmission of energy to bring them to wholeness, either to a person or to a group.
Right. Now tell them the floors of the hospital.
It's on 3 floors. We finished the building. We're doing the naturopath science because I grew up as one, naturally gifted. So naturopath science uses herbal medicine, touch, and even water therapy, solar therapy, earth therapy, how to use mud to heal your body, and so on. So that's the natural part. The middle floor is where we are seeking funds still to go fully functional. That is the Western medicine. And then the 3rd floor is spiritual medicine. So that's how the hospital is built. It's more like a model that I believe hospitals should have natural healing, allopathic or traditional healing, and then spiritual healing, because most diseases are coming from within.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a belief. It's an unhealed trauma, inner drama that hasn't been forgiven or released.
Whether it's financial disease, social disease, psychological disease, physical disease, it's all coming from within.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to sneak people into coming to that understanding, because they'll oftentimes think that it's blame. It's not blame. There's no blame. There's no shame. It's just becoming conscious of that thought or that emotion that hasn't been resolved. And when it begins to be detangled and dissolved, one can be set free. It's just energy that's going against itself. So you also teach about financial abundance. And you're just giving us an example about yourself in terms of how you're dealing with seeming loss. But I understand. I've been through the same thing, and I remember I suffered. I didn't suffer actually, but I experienced a loss, and then I shifted it around in my mind, and I said, you know what? I just circulated a lot of money to someone. I circulated it. I'm in tune with the infinite abundance here. There's no lack, there's no loss here. I've just circulated. It's all coming back to me. I'm open and receptive to being harmonizing prosperity, wealth, and abundance, joy. It's all flowing. I'm missing nothing. All of my needs are met. I hang in that vibration and frequency. Then I watch it manifest. I watch it demonstrate. I watch opportunities open up. Nothing is lost in the universe.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're using the substance of the universe, and the universe is infinite.
Absolutely. Infinite. Now, the surface mind can't catch infinite. Infinite, you have to capture that in your meditation, your prayer, your inner worship, your inner ecology, and then you catch it. It's like, infinite. No time, timeless, infinite. No beginning, no end, infinite. It's a concept until you have a direct and personal revelation of that. Through what? Practice. So before we let you go, two things. Anything that we did not discuss you think is vitally important for them? And then I want you to tell them about your website again, say no about it. Before we do that, why don't you give us a moment of just a coherence, moment of meditation, a moment of...
Right. Since the topic is take back your mind,
yes,
I believe it will be okay if I can take all of us briefly to what we call soul awareness meditation. We also have the soul awareness and engagement meditation, but let me just do the soul awareness, because when you get that, it will be easy for you to do the engagement as well. So right where you are, the meditation starts with your eyes open.
Yes.
You turn your head slowly to the left, to the right, and observe your environment. See something, smell, taste, touch something in your mind, in your perception, and loud in your mind, in your soul state. I see, I perceive my environment, I'm tasting my environment. Give emphasis to the I that is seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and then invite you within with an in-breath and allow the eyes to close. With the eyes closed, scratch a portion of your body. If it's your left hand, for example, simply state, I feel the sensation in my left hand. Then scratch another part, I'm feeling sensation in my right knee. Scratch another part, I'm feeling sensation in my right shoulder. And bring that process to an end. Be conscious of the I and the sensations you just felt. And now bring in a feeling of joy to start with, such as when you met your first love or when your team won. And feel that joy. Permit you to feel that joy and state it clearly. I feel this joy in my emotional body. Notice where you are feeling the sensation in your body system.
Yes.
Now bring in a thought. Any thought, such as the thought of your dream car or your dream house, and think the thought. Noticing the nature of that thought. Notice if it's a car, a dream car, the color, its nature, the model, and simply state it loud in your soul. I am thinking this thought of my dream car in my mind. Noticing where the thought is located in your body's energy system. Now with every in-breath, feel you experiencing the I that can think thoughts in the mental body. It can feel feelings in the emotional body. It can feel sensations in the physical body. And it can experience sensory perceptions in the environment. Be conscious of this I that is doing all of this. And to end the meditation, let this I decide to think the thought it thought of some few moments ago, whether the dream car or the dream house. and notice its location in your body's energy system. Now let the I choose to feel the feeling that it felt in the emotional body some few moments ago. Revisit that emotion. Then revisit the sensations it felt in the physical body. And may even scratch itself in those same parts. And then allow the eyes to open and the eye observe the environment once again. In this simple practice, which should be done for at least 5 minutes, you will come to a place where you start now feeling the I. Now the eye can watch the mental body and not be identified by the events happening in the mental body. It can also participate in the emotional body without being influenced by it. It can participate in the sensory body, physical body sensations. You can be in pain physically, yet you are still in joy because the eye can determine its experience. Now the eye can choose to experience even anger and use the anger as fertilizer for its growth. In African spirituality, nothing is wrong in the world. The weeds are as important as the seeds. Anger is energy in motion, and you can use it to lift yourself from your state of lack, limitation, and mediocrity and fly.
That's right.
If you do not hate your state of lack, limitation, mediocrity strong enough, you wouldn't fly.
That's right.
So use the energy of that emotion.
Right.
So the eye can participate in several emotions and use them.
That's right.
Instead of being used by the emotions.
That's right.
Senses no more can have dominion over you.
That's right.
Your perceptions cannot have dominion over you. You are the eye.
The eye of the
Practice
eye.
the eye. When the eye is involved with the mind, feeling, and sensory perceptions, we call it soul. Mm-hmm. Hence, the program is called Soul Awareness Meditation.
Outstanding. We're so in alignment.
Thank you.
I teach emotionally backed affirmations where you take your anger and you use it. So if something is, let's say you lost some money, so you use the anger and say, why do I have so much money? Why does everything always work together for my good? So you use the anger to transmute the thought. Yeah, so we're in absolute alignment. Listen, conscioushumanity.com, EthereanLife.com. Are those the websites?
Yes.
ETHEREAN life.com, conscioushumanity.com. That's where you'll find my brother, his teachings, the evergreen teachings, hailing as a world citizen, a global citizen, from Accra, Ghana, all around the globe, even at his home right here at Agape International.
One church in different locations.
One church, different locations. One God, different bodies. Brother, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And thanks to all of the listeners and viewers of this program.
Absolutely.
Blessed be their lives.
Blessed be. Spread the word. Peace and blessings to all of you. And now for a moment of meditation. I invite you to turn within, close the external eye, allow your body temple to relax. And inspired by my wonderful conversation with Brother Ishmael Tete, and understanding that we all have emerged from the eternal, and we're all embraced by Mother Nature, we turn within this moment, and we allow our feet that's being placed upon the ground right now. We allow a beam of light from the bottom of our feet to go to the very center of the earth. And we open ourselves up to the possibility that we are available to all transformational knowledge, creative intelligence, spiritual insights that have occurred any time through anyone who has ever walked the planet, that we're available to all of that knowledge and inspiration right now. With the awareness that we've emerged from the eternal, we allow that beam of light to rush up all the way from the bottom of our feet, through the base of our spine, up through our spinal column, throughout the top of the head, with the awareness that we are a spiritual being that has emerged from the eternal presence, and we're available to all knowledge and wisdom and inspiration from the eternal presence itself without any level of experience. We bask in the awareness that as we have merged as earthlings, and we've emerged as spiritual beings, feel that all of our needs are met right now. All of your needs are met. That through the law of provision, the Spirit of the living God has gone before you and prepared a place of harmonizing prosperity, safety, and well-being. Before you ask, it has already been answered. Feel what that feels like with me right now. Say to yourself, all of my needs are met. Say to yourself, everything is working together for my good. Say to yourself, I am perfectly safe right now. Say to yourself, I accept the grace of God. Say to yourself, it's happening right now. And so it is. Amen. Open your eyes. Take a deep inhalation. Release. Move forward into your day with the awareness that life is providing everything that you need even before you ask. You have just made yourself receptive. As always, presently, we have 2 sponsors to Take Back Your Mind podcast. One is Adaptozen. The sponsor is Neutralize. Adaptozen is an aspect of Neutralize. We have superfood greens, and we have the vitamin D3, K2. The immune system is very important, and the energy circuits of your body are very important to be able to carry more cosmic energy. So you want to have your spiritual practice that keeps you in homeostasis, not acidic, but your pH balance is wonderful. And then you want to have right supplementation to assist in that process. Go to Neutralize.com, tap on Adaptozen, and get your bundle. The other sponsor is always the Agape International Spiritual Center, now going into its 37th year. Go to agapelive.com. There you'll find a plethora of ways to tap into the community. You can tap into it every Sunday for our way of meditation service. Our second service of the day is at 8:30 a.m. for meditation, 9 o'clock a.m. for the worship celebration fellowship service. The third service, of course, is 11 a.m. meditation, 11:30 fellowship service. Go to the website, agapelive.com. There are daily meditations, daily prayer times. So much is happening in this community. Those are our 2 sponsors that we give thanks for. Have a bright day. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in taking back your mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind,